I don't think it means what I think it means. Hey guys, and welcome back to another random distractions video. This was just a short update on the Emotiva Big Eagle Plus. This was something that I definitely didn't know I needed since it made my headphones sound so much better. If you saw my previous video, you know that I purchased with some emo bucks after I bought my Basics A5. In that video, I also mentioned that I wondered if I could use it with my computer speakers because even though I like the way it sounded with my headphones, about 90 to 95% of the time, I'm actually using my computer speakers. So even though I thought about it, I didn't actually do anything about it. It wasn't until I had mentioned that I had gotten the Big Eagle Plus on the Emotiva Facebook group, and somebody in the comments actually mentioned the same thing about using it with computer speakers. So I finally decided I needed to look more into it. So my current computer speaker setup is a pair of Yamaha NX50s and a Polk PSW10 subwoofer. The sub actually lived in my home theater for a while before I upgraded and decided to move it under my desk. My sound card has multiple speaker outputs, so I can have the speakers and the subwoofer connected to run a 2.1 setup. This was actually one of the reasons why I wasn't sure if the Big Eagle Plus would work, because the Big Eagle Plus only has a headphone jack and no subwoofer output. It does have a line out and optical out, and so I didn't originally, think about it, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what, I think I could probably use the line out jack for the subwoofer. So I hooked up the speakers to the headphone jack, since they have a 3.5mm jack, and the subwoofer to the line out, because I currently use an RCA to 3.5mm to hook it up to the computer, so it was easy enough to hook it up to the line out. And it sort of worked. So I was getting sound from both the speakers and the subwoofer when I was hooked up, but the main control volume for the computer was only controlling the speaker's output. So the line out is actually feeding a consistent signal to the subwoofer. It was easy enough to fix though, since I was able to set the highest volume on the main volume for my computer, which ended up being around 40 or so for the speakers, and then adjusted the volume on the subwoofer through the subwoofer itself. And once that was set, even though I can't control them both with the main volume, once the main volume was set, I could use, Spotify and then reduce the volume on Spotify, and that would adjust the volume for both of them at the same time. And because the subwoofer is receiving a full signal through that line out, it was getting more than just the low frequencies. This was also an easy fix though, because the Polk actually has a crossover knob, so just adjusted it until it sounded right to me. So with those two things kind of out of the way, I was able to just sit back and listen to some music, which is what I normally do at my desk, and wow, did it make a big difference. The clarity and presence from the computer speakers, it's much better. They sound more fuller and just more dynamic. At louder volumes, the signal is much cleaner. Previously, when it was hooked up to my computer, I would notice a slight digital noise kind of through like quiet passages, or if I needed to pause the music for a little bit and concentrate on something, or if I was on a call, I would notice a slight digital noise coming through the speakers. And it was funny because even the noise reacted to like my mouse movements and sometimes the clicks and things like that, so it was kind of interesting. But now with the Big Eagle Plus, when there's a quiet passage in a song, or if I need to mute it, then it's just quiet. There's no sound coming from the speakers. As for the bass from the subwoofer, it's really surprising because it sounds so much tighter and louder, and I even want to say maybe just a little more aggressive than what it used to. And the only change was the DAC, so I don't know what kind of bass magic this Big Eagle Plus has in it, but yeah, it just sounds so much better. I'm really glad I finally decided to try it, because even though I appreciate what it did for my headphones, since I listen to my computer speakers more often than that, I'm really glad that it's working and it's made a big difference to that experience, so really glad I did that. So even though they just call it a headphone DAC, it doesn't mean it's just for headphones. Well, that's all I have for this video. I would definitely appreciate a like, of course, on this one. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when the next one drops. And until then, I hope you have a good one.